But I've really rearranged my lighting now. So if you've noticed that in like my regular videos, my lighting has just been, what's a good way to put it? Not shit? Not shit's a good way to put it. Yeah, I like that. That's because I have grown this thing known as a brain, and I've rearranged my lights. So I've still got my light here. The light in the normal spot, perfectly fine. Hasn't moved. Now, the light that I had over... Let's put it there. The light that I had over... Yeah. There you go. Look how bad that looks relative to... I guess it is less bright than it was before. But that light, I've moved from being in that spot to being like more in front of my face. And this is where the light should have... Oh god, I'm making a mess now. Let's not unplug the camera, Brody. Oh no, I've ruined everything. I'm gonna fix this and I'm going to keep talking. So, the reason this spot's better is because now the light's actually in front of my face. This is crazy, right? Okay, you may not have expected this, but putting the light in front of your face actually lights up your face. Who would have ever thought? I know why I couldn't get the light in there. I had bumped my my SR850s and they were on the floor. And oh, this is a mess. There we go. I've got so many fucking cables here. There we go. Live configuration of my god-awful setup. Okay, we're back. I found the thing I wanted to show you guys. I'll show you in a bit. Yes. Am I going to cut that? No. We're doing it live. Honestly, I probably could do the podcast live at some point and it would work out about as well. But yeah, now the light is there. Flat lighting. I used to have a flat lighting setup like this back when I had the C920. Back when I had the C920. The reason I stopped doing it is because I didn't like the look back. That was probably very loud. I didn't like the look back when I had the C920 because it's a webcam, and even though the C920 is a decent webcam, at the end of the day, it's a webcam, and there's only so good a webcam can look because, you know, small lens. Basically, lens size is the most important thing for a camera. Like, if you have a lens that's like this, and then you have a lens that's like this, generally, this one's going to be better. Even if... Okay, it's not that simple. But it's assuming that they're, like, from the same era. Generally, the bigger one is the better one. Especially when your lens is this small. Unless you're an iPhone, in which case... Holy shit, I know Apple's pretty shit for, like, you know, repairability, but holy shit, Apple makes some good cameras. Samsung has good cameras as well. I'm impressed by, like, how good phone cameras have actually gotten. But that's not the point. That's not the point I was getting at there. Webcams generally look like shit. I didn't like the look of it back then, so I changed it, and I just hadn't gone around to changing it back, and just seeing what it was going to look like if I used... You know, not a shit camera. You know, my M200. So now it's like this. The thing I wanted to try out this morning, though, is using automatic ISO rather than having a set ISO. So right now, my ISO, I believe I've got set to 250. Basically, the lower your ISO, the more light the camera requires to keep the scene... The lower your ISO, the less sensitive to light your camera is. There we go. So right now it's at 250, which is fairly low. I couldn't go lower. I could go like this. Now we're very dark. But one thing you might notice is if I was actually able to get enough light into this, it would make... everything like really actually, can we get enough light? That is the question. It would make everything really sharp. I would also be blind. I would also be very blind because my camera is running at 99 right now, which is a lot of light. And I can't look at it without closing my eyes. But everything looks good. like, there's this balance. The problem with cameras is you want to get as much light as possible without, you know, destroying your ability to see. Because cameras are very bad in low light situations, and making the camera less sensitive to light is going to obviously require more light to actually be there. So I tried setting it to automatic ISO instead. Now, ignore the fact that, oh god, that's really overblown now. Let's set it back to where it was. So the problem with the automatic ISO is it doesn't know what to do. So normally automatic ISO would be fine. I have a problem with my setup though, and that is I have these lights in the background. So if I turn these off, not red, it should theoretically adjust to not look complete shit. Maybe I just have too much light now. So it's actually looking fairly decent now if we just turn down the lights. The automatic ISO would do well, and then I could still do things like this, and wow, look, it adjusts, and things don't look shit. You can see so many pores on my face when I do that. Look at this. Wow, it's crazy. Wow. This is uncomfortably close, but this is something that just is not possible. And okay, now the camera's freaking out again. Is not possible with those backlights because they're too bright for the, and you'll see how bad my teeth are. I'm going to zoom out now. Because even though my wall is, it looks, like when you're looking at it, it doesn't look like there are lights there. The problem that it has is that to the camera doesn't give a shit about that. The camera is still very aware of the fact that there are lights there. So it doesn't know what to do at all, and it still does not know what the hell to do with this. I'm trying to make it work by just lowering my lights as much as possible. Auto ISO is a bit of a mess. Oh, also because of the overhead light. Yeah, it's freaking out because of that one as well. Auto ISO, my point here is the auto ISO is not going... I pulled the light out of the thing it was sitting in. This is a day of Brody fucking up. The point I'm getting at is that automatic ISO would be a bit of a mess with my setup. Maybe I could make it work with like a different set of lights. And maybe if I put enough effort into it, I could make it work somehow. But as it stands, like as it stands, it would be a bit annoying to deal with. Plus, no matter what I do, it, like, even if we make my face not look awful, it's still really not sure what to do about that background. And the background, I don't think that... I can confirm it doesn't look as it looks in the video right now. And that's something I don't have a way to deal with without, like, lowering down the brightness of the lights, which I don't want to have to do. Because then that ruins, like, the aesthetic I'm going for. And also then start... Because there's now not enough light, and it's trying to compensate for the light with ISO, now you're seeing some banding appearing. That's because of the difference between the refresh rate of the camera and the update. I guess you call it refresh rate as well. The refresh rate of the lights. It's the same thing you get when you try to record a TV. Especially this happens with old TVs where you try to record it and you start seeing like these black bands going up and down the screen. That's because of the slightly different refresh rate between between the two. Maybe I could make this work somehow. I don't know how I would do that though. Now it's not bright enough. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Wow, look. I'm lit up again. There you go. There was my very uninformed camera theory video. I'm sure I can make it better with enough fiddling around. And I do want to keep fiddling with the way my cameras are set up. But I like the look that we have going on right now. This is probably the best look we've had. Now it's just a matter of trying to improve upon it. I know I can always come back to this setup if something doesn't fit the look that doesn't fit the look properly, which is good. One thing I actually did do that did, I think, really improve my setup is so here we go, more camera dicking around. I had my color, what's the word, color temperature, color balance, whatever. I had it set like down like here or something. And I was like, why does my camera look so weird? I don't know why. It looks so strange. And I forgot I'd set it like that. So we can be green or we can be very blue. Now I've just been like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to put it in the center. God. There we go. And now it looks basically as it does in the real world. It's not entirely 100% accurate. I did have to fiddle with some other stuff like the color temperature, not the color, not the white, yeah, color temperature, not the white balance. So right now I'm at like 6,300 Kelvin. If we set it, let's go down a bit. Let's go down to like 4,800. The reason why this is happening, is because, actually, wait, what? No, it's because of that pink light there. That pink light, sort of destroys everything and makes everything a little bit more blue than it should be. So I've had to sort of compensate for that by raising up the color temperature to about 6,300 to make it a little bit more orange, which brings, you know, my life back into my skin and makes me more than just a lifeless corpse. But we can just like, we can go crazy with it. Let's go all the way up. Let's turn us into an Oompa Loompa. There we go, 10,000. I am now an Oompa Loompa. Holy shit, that is very orange. Okay, we're gonna go back now. Cameras are fun. Like that, you don't need a camera like this to, you know, start recording. And it's not like this is a super expensive camera anyway. But it's not like you need a camera like this to start recording, but it certainly does give you a lot of freedom in how you want to record. Like, I could, for some artistic reason, want to make everything really blue. I don't know why I would do that, but, like, there are reasons why you may want to do that. And having a camera like this it gives you the freedom to do it on the camera itself, rather than having to do it in post. And you know what I like? I like not working. So if I can avoid work by doing stuff in the recording process, that's great. But the other nice thing is having a clean signal there just in case you actually do want to do something in post. So if I wanted to go and color grade a certain way, I would make the color look fairly natural, and then I can go from there. I could also dick around my my f-stop. Right now, I've got my f-stop as low as possible, set at 3.5. That's one other thing. When I get my new lens, it's a 1.4 lens. How do you describe f-stops? F-stops are what give you the bokeh effect. So let's see if we can focus on this. So that effect, where it focuses on something and the rest of the background gets blurry. Basically, the lower your f-stop is, the more of that effect there is. But it also has the effect of changing how sensitive the lens is to light. So the higher your f-stop is, the more light your camera requires to actually be lit up. Now, I don't think there would be any possible way for me to provide enough light to light up this scene, but it does certainly make these lights in the background look pretty cool. I personally like to drop my F as low as possible. Oh God, we're slightly viewable now. Let's see if we can do something with this. Let's set it to F8. Whoa, that looks kind of neat. Not good. Neat. I'll give it neat. 5.6. Huh. Maybe I could, like, I could probably make those lights look more impactful by going with a higher f-stop like this. But it requires so much light recording in this setup that it's just not feasible. It just makes more sense to get... It makes more sense to get a lens that can go to a lower f-stop rather than trying to work with something like this. Even though that does look pretty... Assuming that I could, like, do this without blowing out my eyes, like, those lights look pretty cool like this. We'll bring it down to, like, let's say 70? 70 is still way too much. And I like this. I really do like this. I'm just blind right now. That's my problem. I am just blind, and I can't do that. I cannot record being completely blinded like that. It's just not a viable way to record. Maybe for commentary videos, I would just be very uncomfortable. For gaming stuff, I couldn't play like this because I would always be trying to, like, if I looked over there, I would just maybe I'll get used to it, but it's not something I want to get used to. I like my eyesight. So I'll try to compensate for it in other ways by going, if I was to go, you know, lower f-stops, like if I was to get rid of these lights, for example, like, you can see how bright the background is. So if I can go a lower f-stop, and then have my lights be less bright, that gives me the same effect I'm going for. So there's different ways you can get the, like, very similar effects. Whether in some cases having more light is perfectly doable. Like, if you're recording outside, for example, having more light is easy. You just stand near the sun. But when you're trying to record in an intentionally dark room like this, there's only so much you can do when it comes to something like that. So you've got to sort of make it work in some way. Actually, if we go, let's drop that. Like, those look really impactful. You just can't see me for shit. So it's just a matter of dealing with that some way. And I will deal with that at some point when I eventually decide to get that lens. Expect the background to look pretty damn cool.